Hi, I'm thinking about doing something a bit different here. I'm going to review the Ortega versus Korean Zombie fight. This has become one of my first videos on my own since I've started doing YouTube. It was a fantastic card. I think a lot of the fights were very high level MMA fights. A lot of decisions on the card. A lot of some people might say boring fight, but there was a lot of also fun fights, a lot of fights that did mean something. There were some fights that was a few mismatches, but you're going to see that on a few cards anyway. But overall, a very fun event. First fight I'm going to break down is Saidin Magomedov versus Mark Striegel. Saidin Magomedov looked fantastic. Mark Striegel got caught badly in the first seconds of the fight. He then went to try and shoot a takedown. Saidin Magomedov defended him fantastically, and then he just caught Mark Striegel a couple times on the feet, and then Mark Striegel then fell down, and Saidin Magomedov was able to capitalise on that, and then he did really nice ground and pound, and he secures his second win in the UFC. He's also beaten guys like Ricardo Ramos, who's a fantastic fighter. He fought who's now at featherweight division. So Saidin Magomedov now fantastic prospect to look at in the bantamweight division. He's no relation to Khabib like a lot of people think he is. I think he's just very good friends with the family, but he's no relation to Khabib Nurmagomedov. The next fight was Maxim Grishin versus Gadzhimurad Antigulov. Antigulov started off well. I think he might have stolen the first round. The fight was decent while it lasted. But in the second round, Grishin was able to have him pinned down on the ground and was able to unleash fantastic elbows, really nice elbows. And then he was good. Gadzhimurad Antigulov was able to get up, but he wasn't able to withstand a huge barrage in the last 10 seconds from Maxim Grishin. People were talking about the stoppage as a bit controversial. I guess he could have let it go on as it was like 2 seconds left of the round. But I think that fight was only going one way, and I felt that Grishin was going to dominate the rest of that fight as Gadzhimurad normally gets kind of tired. Grishin is 36. He was a guy at PFL. I'm not sure how big his future is in the light heavyweight division. There's a lot of younger talent coming through, but we shall see. And well done on getting the win. It'd be interesting to see who we could fight next. Maybe like a Kidson Abreu or someone like that. Next, the next fight was Ferry Sayam versus Jamie Mullarkey. This was probably one of the best of the early prelim fights. Ferry Sayam, Mullarkey had a war. Mullarkey is very tough. He can take a shot so well, and we saw that against Brad Riddell. Brad Riddell's obviously a very good fighter. We've seen that in his first few fights in the UFC. Mullarkey showed he's got good striking, he's got good wrestling. He was able to take down Ferry Sayam a lot, but the problem with that, he wasn't able to do much with it, and I feel like that's what kind of lost in the fight. Not that Sayam did a lot himself in that fight, to be honest. I thought it was very close. It could have gone either way, to be fair. I thought Jimmy Mullarkey won the fight, but it was a very fun fight to watch, and I hope we don't cut Mullarkey. I know he's 0-2, but I just feel like he's a very fun fighter, and a lot of people thought he won that fight, so hope he can get one more chance. And Ferry Sayam, obviously he's 1-1 in the UFC now, hasn't looked the best since coming to the UFC. He's very young, he's only 23 years old. I think he can take a few time off, a couple months off, maybe return again in February or March. Maybe he can fight someone like a Brock Weaver next. I know Brock Weaver's got a fight coming up, but the winner of that fight, he can fight, so hopefully he can build up on this momentum and start getting a bit more confident and put a bit more outstanding performances in. The next fights were Julian Park versus John Phillips. Julian Park looked fantastic. he broke the record of strikes, I think, in the UFC to an opponent. He had like 286 strikes to 2 of from John Phillips. John Phillips has not, I think, has only landed like 4 strikes or like 7 strikes in his last 2 fights. Obviously his last fight with Khamzat Chimaev. Khamzat Chimaev obviously is a fantastic fighter. We've seen that. And then he fought a very good fighter again in Julian Park. Julian Park said in the interview that he would hope to fight Chimaev in a nightclub or anywhere really. Hopefully they can fight soon. But I think Chimaev is looking for someone like a Neil Magny, obviously a bit higher, Damian Maia guys, but there's a lot of talks of Neil Magny for Chimaev next. Julian Park, obviously a fantastic middleweight prospect. He's coming off win against Marc-Andre Barrios, who's a good fighter. He had a lot of hype. It's not the best of opposition so far in John Phillips and Marc-Andre Barrios. He's also coming off lost to Anthony Hernandez, but he's doing well that fight as well. So there's a lot of promise for him. He's only 28 years old. He's only had 16 fights as a pro. And he just dominated that fight. Very nice victory for him, and looking forward to see what he does next. I think he said he wants to fight in December, but I think it depends how his cut heals, and I feel like that might be a bit too soon. I'm not sure whether he's able to fight in the US yet because of the COVID situation, but hopefully he can get fights very soon, maybe when they return to Fight Island on January or February, I think it is. Next fight was Gillian Robertson versus Pauliana Botelho. Gillian Robertson looked really good. Botelho looked really good in the first round. I think she won it. She was able to stuff a lot of Gillian Robertson's takedowns. She definitely stuffed one notably where she stuffed that and then she put some ground and pound in to follow that up. But then from the second and third rounds, with one of them was a 10-8 round, I think it was 29-27 on 2 judges' scorecards. Gillian Robertson just dominated with her wrestling. Really good. She was striking as well. She wasn't just staying on top. She was being active. And that's what got her the 10-8 round and got her the 10-9 round in the third. And she looked very good. She's 9-4 now. She's fought Courtney Casey in the last fight. And she's beaten now a very good fighter who's 8-3. Be interested to see who she fights next. She's top 15 in the flyweight rankings. She's called out someone, I can't remember who she called out. She's called anyone out from top 14 onwards. So be interesting to see where she can fight again. She didn't really take much damage, and hopefully she can stay very active. Maybe fight again at the end of the year, or maybe on the Conor McGregor Dustin Poirier card, or one of those January cards anyway. So, very good win from her, and she moves to 9-4, very bright prospect, only 25 years old, very good wrestling, and she's got a bit of momentum for herself now. She's come back very well against Maycee Barber in her last fight, before Courtney Casey fight, 2 fights ago, where she lost in the first round. I originally thought she won that. I got mixed up with Roxanne Modafferi, but she looked very good, 9-4, 25 years old, very good wrestling. Very good contender to watch out for in the flyweight division, where they need a lot more talent coming through. Next we have Guram Kutateladze versus Mateusz Gamrot. Gamrot obviously was a guy coming from KSW. He was a 2-time KSW champion, I think 2-weight KSW champion. He had good wins over guys like Norman Park, who used to be in the UFC. Fought a very good opponent in Guram Kutateladze. I found it very hard to back against Georgian fighters because they've been undefeated this year in the UFC. They've been very good. It's like they've got an endless supply of very good fighters at the moment, and Guram is one of them. He's 12-2. Sorry, I thought he won. No, I thought Gamrot won 2-1. I thought it was very close. So I thought Guram had a very good second round. The first round was very close. Could have gone either way. Guram secured himself a knockdown in the second round, and then in the third it was very close as well. But I think Gamrot, the thing is, he got the takedowns a lot, but Guram was able to do very well for his back. He was making the positions very awkward for Gamrot. making it very tight for Gamrot to really do anything. He was defending himself very well on the ground, and he was able to get up quite a lot. Gamrot wasn't able to establish himself a lot really on the ground. Really wasn't able to put Gorham under too much damage. Gorham thought he lost originally in the fight. In his post-fight interview, said his Instagram, "Look, I thought I lost that fight. You're a warrior to Gamrot." But then in his post-fight with all the media, he kind of calmed down a bit, and he was like, "Well, I'll have to go and see." I think that might be like a bit of adrenaline rush for him. Maybe he will sit down and think, "Okay, I did actually win this fight." And they both did a fantastic job. This was one of the high-level fights of the card, and it was one of the best fights on the card, to be honest. The most anticipated fights on the card as well, between two great European talents. And Gamrot moves to 17-1. He was 17-0 at the time, but I don't think much is lost with him. He's only 29 years old. He will come back very strongly, I feel. Very good fighter. Didn't put a bad performance in at all. And same with Gorham. If Gorham was to lose that fight, I would say the exact same thing. Both really good prospects in the lightweight division, and that division is already stacked as it is. We've got another great prospect next week, which I might be breaking down by myself. I'm not too sure yet. But with Yo Alvarez from Spain, who beat Joe Duffy last time out, he's fighting Alexander Yakovlev in his next fight next weekend on the Khabib Gaethje card. The first fight of the main card was Jonathan Martinez and Thomas Almeida. This was another back-to-back really high-level fight. The striking was fantastic, both very patient, both looked good, but I just felt like Jonathan Martinez was going to knock out Thomas Almeida at any point in that fight, because I just didn't like the way Thomas Almeida reacted in those fights when he got hit. Like every time Jonathan Martinez hit him with a shot, I felt like Thomas Almeida was rocked a bit. But don't get me wrong, Thomas Almeida did some really good stuff in that fight. He landed a lot of good combinations himself and looked very, very good in that fight. And Jonathan Martinez should be on a 5-fight win streak, or maybe a 4-fight win streak, depending on how you saw his fight against Andre Ewell, which was a good fight again. He came back and beat Frankie Saenz in his comeback win. So, and he's beat a high-level guy in Thomas Almeida and a big name in Thomas Almeida. So we shall see what happens with him next. Maybe he can jump him up the rankings. Maybe he can give him a Raoni Barcelos. The winner of that gets a top 15 guy. Because Barcelos was obviously meant to fight Brett Jones, maybe, because Brett Jones said he turned down a fight against a 15-1 guy because he wasn't too happy with the contract he got for that fight. So, and I'm assuming that was Barcelos. Not many people want to fight Barcelos. Barcelos beat Said Nurmagomedov in his last fight. So, and Husai got a good win here tonight. So last night. So we shall see what's going to happen with Martinez and Almeida going forward. I think again they both put really good performances in. You could do Almeida versus Alejandro Perez again, and Martinez against Raoni Barcelos. I think that'll be a very good fight. Or maybe you can do him against Song Yadong, but Song Yadong probably will be looking up by the rankings now. He's coming off a winner. Oh, you can do Martinez versus Marlon Vera. I think that would be a fantastic fight. I think Martinez versus Marlon Vera should be next. The next fight was James Krause versus Claudio Silva. You can tell Claudio Silva took a while out of the cage. He took around about 2 years out. His striking wasn't very good. We knew that. He was coming on a fight win streak. He's a massive BJJ guy, world-class BJJ guy, but that's kind of all he has at the moment. Well, all he has in his career, to be honest. His striking wasn't very good. James Krause, obviously someone that should be on a massive win streak. He lost his last fight on 24 hours notice at middleweight against Trevin Giles. Trevin Giles narrowly just beat him. A lot of people thought James Krause would win. James Krause looked good for the majority of the fight. Apparently he blew up his knee, which meant he wasn't able to look as good as he should have done maybe against someone like Claudio Silva, who just wasn't very good on the feet. And James Krause was just able to pick him off. He called out Joaquin Buckley next. Apparently them two don't really like each other. Well, James Krause has issues with the way Joaquin Buckley is in terms of his trash talking, but he said he asked to train with him, and James Krause said no, because he doesn't want that kind of attitude in the gym, at his gym. We obviously know how important James Krause is to other MMA fighters, as he's got his own gym, and he's been able to corner a lot of these really good fighters in the UFC as well. So that's fair enough for him if he doesn't feel like Buckley would be a positive influence on the gym. He has every right to refuse him, and he said he wants to fight him. And Buckley is a natural welterweight, but Buckley's got another fight against Jordan Wright on the 21st of November, which is the next pay-per-view. So we shall see what happens there. I think it's a very good fight, really entertaining fight. If that happens, but Krause can also fight someone near the top 20 in the welterweight rankings, maybe the winner of Bilal Muhammad versus Sean Brady. Bunch of other fights. Jake Matthews, he can fight. I think Jake Matthews versus James Krause should be the next fight. I think that's a fantastic fight to make, maybe for the next UFC Fight Island cards. Next we have Jimmy Crute versus Modestas Bukauskas. Jimmy Crute looked amazing. He was able to rock Modestas Bukauskas in the first round. I think he knocked him down, and then he came in with a beautiful uppercut, which I thought knocked Modestas out. People saying there was a weird stoppage, but I thought he knocked him out. But he wasn't fully knocked out, but I think the referee did a good job. I don't think Bukauskas would have been prepared for Jimmy Crute's next shot, because he's about to unleash brutal ground and pound on him. So I feel like it was a really good stoppage. I felt Jimmy Crute looked fantastic in that first round and in that fight overall. He's avenged himself after his loss to Misha Serkinov, coming off wins over Mikhail Olenszejczuk and Modestas Bukauskas. Jimmy Crute showed great sportsmanship after that fight as well. They embraced straight after. You can tell Jimmy Crute didn't really want to land another shot after that brutal uppercut he did, and the lead up to that as well. He called out Nikita Krylov next. That's a fantastic fight. Krylov's coming off a fantastic win over Johnny Walker. And Modestas Bukauskas probably should fight someone like an Alexa Kamor. I think that'd be a very good fight against Kamor. Two guys who are very young, two guys who aren't the most experienced guys yet, so I think that would be a fantastic fight. Jessica Andrade versus Caitlin Chookagian was the co-main event. Jessica Andrade looked really good. Caitlin Chookagian went into the decided to clinch with Jessica Andrade, and then she got caught with a really quick body shot. I missed that first. I had to rewind it because I wasn't sure what hurt, whether it was a knee or not, but it was a fantastic body shot that hurt her. And then she followed it up with a fantastic body shot again, so she hit with two really nice body shots. And then Caitlin Chookagian just crumbled, unfortunately for her. She was obviously someone that's fought for the title. She beat Anatona Shevchenko, Valentina Shevchenko's sister, which was a fantastic performance. And here, she definitely outsized her opponent in Jessica Andrade. Jessica Andrade was coming from the strawweight division, but it was a fantastic performance for Jessica Andrade, and hope maybe she gets a title shot. Maybe she waits until the Lauren Murphy fight, which she's fighting a girl from Uzbekistan now. She was meant to fight Cynthia Calvillo. You could do Jessica Andrade versus Calvillo maybe. But who knows yet? The division... She's added to that division. I think it needed new stars and new challenges for Valentina Shevchenko, and Andrade is that, and that'll be a huge fight for the UFC, I feel. Andrade is obviously a former flyweight champion, strawweight champion, so it's a big name fight between her and Shevchenko, hopefully, for the UFC, and hopefully as fans as well. I think that would sell decent pay-per-views with a decent co-main, with a very good co-main and a very good card. And then next up is the main event between Brian Ortega and the Korean Zombie. I felt the Korean Zombie would have won the fight. I thought he was good enough to win the fight, but I'm not even going to say he didn't turn up. I don't like using that excuse. I don't like taking away someone from their victory. Brian Ortega did look good. He was able to outstrike him in every single round pretty much. Well, the Korean Zombie outstruck Brian Ortega on the live count in the second round, but he was doing well in that round, and then he got a bit too giddy, and Brian Ortega was able to catch him with a spinning elbow. But it was a weird one because it kind of looked a bit above his elbow, but it was a spinning elbow. It was fantastic. He got knocked down in the first 2 rounds. Did the Korean Zombie? He got knocked down in the first round, and he got knocked down here. He said he doesn't remember some rounds, so I think he fought 3 rounds with a concussion, which is fair play to him. That's obviously meant he wasn't able to put the best performances in. But Brian Ortega looked fantastic, and he probably gets a title shot now. Just the way he barely used his wrestling, his jiu-jitsu really. He did take him down, but he wasn't really keeping him there. But he was good enough with his striking anyway, so it didn't really matter. So, but next, like I said, probably getting a title shot against Alexander Volkanovski, who I thought did beat Max Holloway twice. I think a lot of people now who have watched it back have changed their minds on the fight and thought, okay, yeah, it wasn't a big robbery. Volkanovski did win that fight, because I've seen a lot of people now go out and say he did win 3, 4, and 5, which I thought he did. I think he's a fantastic champion. I think this will be a fantastic fight. People say Ortega shouldn't really get a title fight, but who is there for him to fight? For Volkanovski to fight? You got Zabit and Yair tied up, which are probably going to fight in November or December time. Who knows when they're going to fight? So Brian Ortega does deserve it. I think he beat someone in the top 5, which is big. The other top 5 guys are booked. You can't give Holloway the trilogy. He doesn't really deserve it yet. As much people like Max, I like Max. He just doesn't deserve it. He did lose twice to Volkanovski. They can do Chaz and Jung, the Korean Zombie, against Max Holloway maybe. That could be an interesting fight. They're both coming off a lot. Max coming off 2 losses. The Korean Zombie coming off 1. So I'll do Brian Ortega versus Volkanovski, Korean Zombie versus Max Holloway, Zabit versus Yair, and Qatar versus Josh Emmett. I think those are fantastic fights. And soon we're going to add Arnold Allen to that mix. He's obviously fighting Jeremy Stevens next. But that wraps up my recap of the review of this week's card. This is new for me, and if anybody else wants me to continue kind of doing these videos by myself and these kind of reviews, please like the video, and please tell me if you want me to continue doing these kind of videos. Thank you for watching, and stay tuned for my prediction video for Khabib versus Gaethje, and hopefully a couple of interviews which will probably be on MMA prospects. But thank you for watching, and speak to you soon.